This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Brothers and sisters of the congregation, it's your boy, Brother Greatness, and right now you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Hallelujah.
Hello, and welcome to the show with Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Brother Greatness.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you so much for the warm welcome and for reaching out to me, my brother.
Absolutely. It's fantastic to speak to you on this All Saints Day, no?
Soon coming. Yeah, All Saints Day today, November 1st. You know, still over here thinking about all the wonders of Halloween. People run out here in their candy and their costumes, but we'll focus on November for now.
Yes. And let's focus on the future. What do you got coming up?
All right. Well, as a lot of people know, every Thursday on IWTV at 8 p.m. there is the Wrestling Open. Myself, Anastasia Morningstar, and the Even Stevens form the Church of Greatness, and we're there most Thursdays. And Wrestling Open is open every Thursday out of Worcester, Massachusetts, on IWTV 8 p.m. So that's the biggest thing for me. Victory Pro Wrestling is coming up on November 18th out of Bayshore, New York. So definitely a good show to check out as well. Actually, I think that's November 19th. So that's going to be a really great show. And of course, the Wrestleville with Pizza Party, Beyond Wrestling, and everyone else is going to be happening at the end of the year, live on IWTV out of Worcester, Massachusetts, in the White Eagle. So those are the biggest things coming up for me that I can legally bring up. And I'm missing one. Check out Test of Strength for all their events. We have a few training days coming up and a really big benefit happening in early December for GM Rojas.
And I mean, those are really big. It sounds like you're bringing the year to a close in a big way, no?
Yeah. It's going to be very busy. Mid to late November. Hopefully, I'll have some really fun announcements. And with Wrestleville at the end of the year, there's nothing bigger in indie wrestling, in my opinion, than the Wrestleville at the end of the year, which started last year, of course. So many great promotions working under the Beyond banner.
And of course, for these announcements and so much more, where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, of course. So definitely the biggest place to catch me is on the Instagram. I'm on Instagram, I feel like 24/7 at this point. Brother Greatness 2012. Once again, that's Brother Greatness 2012. And of course on Twitter, especially if you want to be connected to Wrestling Open. Everything Wrestling Open and Brother Greatness is put on @BGreatness 2012 on Twitter.
Right, and merchandise?
So you're going to find most of my merchandise on ProWrestlingTees.com/Brother Greatness. If you do not like Pro Wrestling Tees, feel free to reach out to me directly on Instagram to get a different set of merchandise that isn't actually available on Pro Wrestling Tees. So those are the two options.
Ooh, interesting. Right,
Yeah.
And you don't need to be looking for those websites. All of the links will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. Alright, let's get into it. Can you tell us about being a part of the highly controversial Forbidden Fruit event?
Yeah, Forbidden Fruit was great, man. It was great. A lot of arguments backstage. I think the best thing that Pizza Party Pro did is really going out their way to make sure that they knew what everyone's preferences were prior to building this card. So that it was just a really cool event. I love pineapple on pizza. I know a lot of people don't. And Leroy Green, who is a pretty close friend of mine in the world of wrestling, has his strong opinions. So this argument did get very real for us. And to the point that when his birthday came around, I actually forgot his birthday. Didn't wish him a happy birthday, and I started cutting the promos for the show. And then I saw it pop up on Facebook. It's his birthday. I said, "Don't forget his birthday. He just insulted pizza yesterday," and it took a life of its own. So the show was interesting. IWTV doesn't do it justice, honestly, in this regard, because it was a very loud event. It was very busy, and the stuff between me and Leroy was very real. So definitely one of my favorite events of the year. If you discount a lot of the Wrestling Open stuff, Pizza Party Pro's Forbidden Fruit, awesome.
Yeah, you're making it even personal, forgetting people's birthdays.
Yes. Listen, I love pineapple pizza, man.
No, Pizza Party Pro is supposed to be is like one of the funner promotions, like the one where you just kick back and relax. But I felt like from being one of the most cool promotions, bringing up literally one of the most controversial subjects in the world today, and putting those pro and anti against each other. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was definitely great, and it was a nice, fun way to deal with the issue. A lot of the guys had a lot of fun with it, and me and Leroy decided to beat each other violently over it. So it was something for everyone. It was a little different than your usual pizza party show.
So, you obviously Brother Greatness is Catholic Christian gimmick. Was it important to you to bring your faith into the ring? Because, religion could be a very touchy subject in general, much less than, pro wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. They always say, you don't talk about religion or politics. But for me, the Brother Greatness quote unquote character, I really can't call it a character. It truly is an extension of myself. I'm a devout, non-denominational Christian, and when it was time to determine what I wanted to do, when people heard my promos and heard the way I spoke while I was being trained, everyone always said that I sounded like I was preaching or like I was a preacher. So because of that, I decided to bring my faith into it. And since I'm not a pastor, I made the decision that instead of being Pastor Greatness, Deacon Greatness, what have you, I'd just be Brother Greatness, because as many people know in the Black church, it's brother this, brother that, brother this. So I just ran with that, and a few years later, I actually broke my skull. Didn't think I'd be able to wrestle again. They weren't sure if I was going to survive. The surgery was intense. There's a lot that went into that. So when I was, gifted the blessing of being able to wrestle and told that I was cleared to compete, that in that moment I knew that this is a side of myself I need to consistently show, because I want to keep thanking God for letting me do this, giving me a second chance at doing this, and I'm going to keep doing it until a major company requests me to do something else. But at the end of the day, my religion matters to me. It's the number one thing in my life, and I'm happy that so many promotions have given me an opportunity to touch on such a touchy subject.
Right. And, you mentioned you're not a pastor, but has that ever been in your mind to maybe, a second, something outside of pro wrestling to preach?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I actually wanted to get a master's in theology from Christian Cultural Center. They actually did a whole thing where they offer a degree, and I think they started offering that 3 or 4 years ago. It's very expensive, so it's definitely one of those things I'd like to do when I'm in the financial position to really, dive in and really learn the Bible more beyond simply reading it myself or a Bible study or going to church, to really be fully engaged in that for a period of time. That's like a dream.
Okay, and like you said, it's a touchy religion is a touchy subject. Has there been any promotions that will tone it down, or we don't want this part of your gimmick? I don't want to say gimmick, but this part of your character. Things like
No, it's come up. It's come up a few times. I won't name names, but I've had a promoter legitimately tell me in front of 80 other wrestlers in a big tryout that they would literally never book me with this quote unquote gimmick. And then by the end of the tryout, offered me an opportunity to work on his promotion. Because of scheduling, I never actually ended up working for him, funny enough. But no, that's come up. But more often than not, it's usually people viewing the quote unquote gimmick or character in a way that I am not always comfortable with, or I might not have viewed it in that way. So someone might see it and say, push it to a very Catholic side, or really try to push the envelope with certain things that I just don't find okay. So those conversations happen a lot, whether it's something as small as like a shirt design, or a like any little thing could be problematic, because I have to manage it in a very specific way, because there's direct connection to my faith.
Right. No, I completely understand that.
Yeah, so it causes problems, but I'm willing to accept those problems.
And obviously, you'd be loved in some places, and a heel in other places, which I find really interesting, that you could be the same person and be loved by some people in one promotion and hated in others.
Yeah, I find a lot of people find that weird to kind of digest, and I get it when you're thinking strictly about wrestling. It's like, what? How people boo you over here? But I mean, in daily life, there's some people you probably know in your day-to-day life that you're like, oh, I love this guy. Like, Mike from accounting or something. Like, oh, this guy's great. And then you find out that Susie hates him, and you're like, I have no idea why Susie hates him. It's the same guy acting the same way, just towards the person who loves him and a person who doesn't. And it's the same thing with these wrestling crowds. So when I go to Victory Pro Wrestling, and it's this family-centered suburban, very, very, rated G kind of crowd, kind of audience, trying to instill good values in their kids, they absolutely adore me. They absolutely adore me. They love what I'm about. They love what I discuss. But I go to Worcester, Massachusetts, where that's not the case, and there's a bar a couple yards away from the ring. That's not what they're that's not what they're trying to hear. So it's really just a matter of the audience I'm in front of. That's really all it is.
When it comes to crowds either loving you or hating you, how do you adapt to that? Is it like, if you're like a face and they're booing you, is it okay, I have to just be in a heel? Do I have to just be in a face? Or is it just, I'm going to be brother greatness and you take it as it is?
Yeah, a lot of wrestlers get real hung up on what the crowd does. I sincerely believe that if I go to an audience expecting to be cheered, I'm gonna get cheered. That's just what's gonna happen. And if they don't start off like that, they'll eventually work their way to it, because I already have perceived what the audience is about. I understand that if I'm in an audience full of kids, I'm going to be cheered. So if it starts out with boos, it's okay, because those boos will become cheers. It's just a matter of time. So I'm not really too big on shifting the way I'm responding to the audience because they're booing me at that time, because they're going to stop, and vice versa. If I'm expecting them to be very negative towards me, I mean, it's just natural, right? You go into a big room and people are booing you out the place. Your reaction is going to not be that great all the time. So I get why other wrestlers kind of switch in their head, but I'm going to be me no matter what.
All right, awesome. Now, can you tell us about the Church of Greatness and your relationship with Even Stevens and Anastasia Morningstar?
Yeah, definitely. Church of Greatness is a necessity at the Wrestling Open. And for those people, if you've ever really watched an episode or experienced live, the things that are said and the things that go on from that fan base, you can't tell me they don't need Jesus. So the church is essentially developed so that I have the required assistance to spread this message. And the church has had many iterations, many different individuals have been in it, but the folks that are in it now are really the best fit. The Even Stevens, I've known both of them for a long time. I've known Somerset longer, but we were never that close. And we just kind of ended up being together out of necessity. I was looking to expand the church. They were looking, honestly, for more opportunity at the Wrestling Open. And being part of the church does offer an opportunity to be at the Open more often. And they wanted an additional person with them. So they moved towards the church, and it's been working out for them very well. And they've been a delight to have. We all actually don't live super far from each other, so we were able to ride down together, get to know each other. They've listened to me, listen to online service on the way to a show. And it's very interesting. And Anastasia Morningstar I've known since her very first match. And even though a lot of people question how she's a fit in the church, it works out really well because what we're getting here. I have an individual in front of me that I think is sinning, stepping away from the Lord, and bringing Anastasia Morningstar around creates an opportunity for them to see what will happen if they don't change their sinful ways. And she's just happy to beat somebody up, so it works for everyone.
All right. And what's a pet peeve about all of them that you just don't understand?
Yeah, the level of Anastasia Morningstar is a walking pet peeve. all the demonic stuff is not kosher with me, like that. Honestly. And honestly, I don't even know what I could really say about the Steves. I mean, I guess the biggest thing, which I don't have a real pet peeve with them, but I'll just say they make a lot of references. I have no idea what they're talking about from different movies and TV shows. Brother Azur's always nice enough to explain all these movie references to me. But that'd be my biggest thing. I'm like, what are they talking about? And it'll be something from Zoolander or something.
So, not a fan of Blue Steel?
No, hey, I like both of them, but I know that if I'm sitting in a room with them, there's going to be references, and I'm going to be very confused.
Well, speaking of sins, could you tell us about the 7 deadly sins?
The 7 deadly sins? Well, I hope you don't mean the anime.
No, I'm talking about the 7 superstars that you feel are the representation of the 7 deadly sins.
I'll go one by one real quickly for you. Honestly, first and foremost, the sin that we've already eradicated in Lus Douglas. Doesn't take much to understand that guy over there. We already saw at WWR the Galentine's Day Massacre that his lust and ignorance caused him to get destroyed by Karen Bam Bam. More on that later, but Lust Doug, very obvious, very serious issue. Straight down to the sin of envy. You're dealing with Kylon King, who's envious of his own tag team partner and of his friends, The Haven, and his so-and-so friend, Ichiban. He's a very envious individual. If you ever seen him backstage, he's just terrible to be around. I don't like him. I'm not a fan of his. He's the reason the people at Test of Strength no longer like me, no longer cheer for me. It's because of Kylon King. He's a sinner. He's a heathen. He's a miscreant. I don't like him. His partner's not that evil. But you know what? His about him in the butt one day. I'm tired of him, mourn him. I'm done with him. The sin of gluttony, of course, Trayvon. You already see the way that he acts. He always wants to dance with somebody, and people dance with him, and he keeps asking for more people. That's gluttonous. Sin of Wrath? I'm just going to skip that. We're not going to talk about Slade.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to deal with him at the moment. So the Sin of Sloth, CPA. You ever seen him enter the ring? Enough said. And finally, the Sin of Pride, Ichiban calling himself number one. That I shouldn't even have to explain that. He keeps calling himself number one. He's not number one. He's prideful. He's sinful. He's evil, and he must be destroyed. Shout out to Brad Hollister, Big Bacon, for stopping bullying.
Did you touch on greed?
Oh, the Sin of Greed. Yes. I forgot about Alec Price. You see the way he keeps chasing down all this gold, all this silver. He just wants to take everything for himself. I'm the ace. This person's trash. We need to stop Alec Price. His greedful nature is going to break down not only the Wrestling Open, but professional wrestling in the entire world. He's going to take his talents and move them from place to place and cause issues. And he's already doing so. The church is going to stop it.
I think Becca has you on that one. I think she's going to take him down before you get to him.
Wait, I'm sorry. I didn't catch you there. What did you say?
I think Becca has you there. I think she's going to take him down before you do.
If she does, I have much respect to her. I mean, I believe it's her and Alec going one-on-one at where I think it's at Heavy Lies the Crown. I think that's where that's going to finally happen. So
yeah.
I'm really excited for her to handle Alec. But if she fails, the church for the church, hallelujah, will come deal with the Sin of Pride.
All right, and like I get all the sides of these things. I agree with you, Del. But I mean, Lust Douglas. I mean, how could you not love Doug?
See, this is the issue. People are mixing up love and lust. All right? Douglas just wants to keep doing all these weird things with individuals. He's blowing kisses. He wants dates. He doesn't care about the soul or spirit of anyone. He doesn't. He doesn't care about anyone. He just simply wants to keep taking from individuals. He wants to take from their emotions, take from their positivity. He doesn't add anything to anyone's life. He just throws up rose petals, talking foolishness, trying to go on dates for a full year straight.
Yes.
Disrespecting people, carrying on.
Unfortunately,
how could I love Lust Doug is the question you should have asked me.
I apologize. I should have rearranged it better.
It's fine. I understand. You're misguided.
Now, can you tell us about you were a trainer for T2T. Could you tell us about being a trainer, how that gave you maybe perspective on your own career, and maybe a little bit on Logan Black?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm no longer a trainer at T2T, but I was there for the founding, and I trained there for on or about a year, maybe a little bit more than a year. And honestly, it was awesome. It helped me take a hard look at my own in-ring work and at my own career, and made me push a little bit harder for a very solid period of time. I helped train a lot of great talent. I'm not going to shoot out all their names, obviously. Big shout out to Stan Michael, who I really think is a standout of that group. But I had the opportunity to help a lot of people who were seeing do very good work on the indies now, and training individuals with Logan Black was great. He has a completely different outlook on wrestling overall than I do, and I think it served all the students very well, having both of us there at the exact same time, giving two separate philosophies so that they could use the information in the way that they saw fit. And it was really a blessing getting to do all of that with them, and with MV Young as well. It was really just a real delight. It's a part of my life that I wouldn't give up. That was great. And to this day, a lot of the students who are there, were formerly there, still reach out to me for advisement and assistance. It was really rewarding.
interesting. A class of ideologies in a wrestling school, and not kind of instill into the student. Oh, well, my word is kind of law, but like take the information and do what you feel is the best for you to do with it.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it too is just both of us understanding our roles from the very beginning. Logan Black has more years of experience than me, and he's worked Europe. I haven't worked Europe. And this was not his first stint being a head trainer. It was my first stint actually being a trainer. So from the very beginning, I made it very clear that the leader there was Logan Black. That's it. To this day, it's still Logan Black. That is the head trainer. I was the assistant trainer. I focused a lot on basics, development, psychology. He was working a little bit more in the more advanced pieces of the art form that we call professional wrestling. So I think just both of us respecting each other and maintaining different roles really assisted with that. Plus, we ended up slowly crafting a true friendship that's still pretty solid to this day. So, great guy. I'd love to wrestle him because we've never wrestled one-on-one. So, any promoter listening to this, that match would be a lot of fun.
Brutal Greatness versus the King of Chaos.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Now, you haven't wrestled in Europe, but you have wrestled in the Dominican Republic, correct?
More than a couple years ago. Good, I'm dating myself. But yeah, about 4 years ago, I wrestled under the Bronx Wrestling Federation header for Dominican Wrestling Entertainment. So that was great against what's the gentleman's name again? I think it translates to King Chaos. Actually, funny enough, his name. So great trip, great time. Other people like Mantis, TJ Marconi, Bronco International, and many others were also on that card.
What was the culture like there? And did you see any difference in, how they work the ring rather than how you do?
They're very lucha based, which worked fine for me. My original trainers are the SAT. So, those are fathers of the American lucha style. So dealing with that more Mexican style lucha wasn't really a big issue for me. This is a style that I learned early on in my career. However, the language barrier was a ton of fun because you're wrestling a guy who speaks only Spanish. I'm speaking only English, and there's no one there to really translate. So that was definitely interesting. But definitely enjoyed the experience. I'd love to do it again.
So when you say Bluma, they have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm saying stuff, and man's like, what? Get? I'm like, what? Get? It was hilarious, but it worked itself out.
No habla headlock.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. Puerto Grande, I don't know. I was struggling, but it worked itself out. Couldn't say a word to the man. Couldn't preach nothing, but that crowd was very good, and the food was even better.
Ooh, what was the food?
I couldn't tell you what I was eating. It was meat and rice, and it was just various different types of meats and various different colors of rice, and it all worked.
That sounds delicious. You're talking my jam, meat and rice.
Meat and rice, man, and a whole lot of Coca-Cola because it tastes different in DR. It's different kind of sugar or something. It's delicious.
I'm drinking Coca-Cola right now, my friend.
Fair enough. I don't have a lot of soda, but in DR, man, soda's different.
Well, could you tell us about being on the top 500 Black wrestlers list? What did that mean to you? And you took a really big jump from 2020 to 2021. You were number 225 in 2020, and in 2021 you were 101.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a blessing. Ranking me ahead of TV guys, I was like, oh well, look at there. But it's nice. I'm really glad that list exists. It definitely gives more wrestlers a platform that they may not have had otherwise. And I sincerely believe that being relatively highly ranked on that list gets you noticed by PWI and hopefully individuals with buying power, and it definitely helps with booking, with trying to discuss price negotiations, trying to figure out where you want to compete. So yeah, love it. I hope he keeps putting me on that list and makes it higher and higher. There's really not much I can do to affect that outside of go out and compete and be the best professional wrestler I can be.
I mean, Board of Greatness, Righteous Reg, it kind of seems like there's a little click there.
There should be, but listen, me and him don't really converse. I just see myself pop up on the list. I'll make a little tweet. Thank you very much, and it comes up again next year. So hopefully it just keeps happening. You know, I'm just trying to get the numbers that Darius Carter has.
Well, I don't believe he made unless it comes out before the year's end. I don't believe there's a 2022 list yet. If there is, where would you like to see yourself on there?
Well, number one would be great, but I'll take what I can get. Just hopefully it doesn't go down. I feel as though I'm doing enough work this already so far for the year versus last year that I should be a more highly. Well, I'll say that in January after all of the winter things that should happen do happen. Hopefully, I'll be higher on the list due to the quality of the places I'll be working over the course of the next 6 to 7 months.
All right. Well, I do feel like you're reaching more people, and obviously doing God's work. So much so that somebody donated their baby to you.
Oh gosh, that baby. Yeah, no, that caught me off guard to say the least.
You already had like Swedish fishes in the bag, and then somebody's putting their baby. What was that like?
Well, first of all, not a lot of people realize I can't. So I wear glasses, right? I do not wear contacts, so I'm in the ring. I can't see.
Oh wow!
All I can see is the wrestler in front of me. I don't see very well. So when I have the basket outreached, I really can't see what you're putting in the basket until I pull it back and look inside the basket. Everyone thinks I'm just playing around or putting on a mean face. I'm squinting. I can't see. So when the weight of the baby went into the basket, I thought it was a doll at first. But I felt how heavy it was in the basket, so I looked closer and the baby moved, and it freaked me out. So I didn't see any of that coming, but it's okay. The following week, I saw the baby again, and after the show, we had Pastor Mike, who, if anyone's listening to this, scroll through my Facebook, Twitter, what have you. Pastor Mike is trying to collect some donations to keep the church afloat. They've been running through some financial difficulties out in Worcester, so definitely would like some more love and help for Pastor Mike. But he came out and he christened the baby, did a baby dedication after the show, and it was a really beautiful moment. The parents were there, a lot of the fans saw it, and I think they're going to be getting their dedication, their certificate on Thursday after the show from Pastor Mike. So. Yeah, the baby thing was hilarious, but it turned into a beautiful moment after the show over by the merch table. I can't say I've ever heard of a christening happening at a professional wrestling event.
Yeah, a new member of the Church of Greatness.
Sister Sadie.
Awesome. And could you tell us more about Mike?
Yeah, Pastor Mike. He's a pastor at Field of Dreams Ministry. I believe it's 38 Benefit Street in Worcester, Massachusetts. So if anyone's looking for a new a new home for service, Field of Dreams Ministries. I would recommend that. If anyone's looking to donate to him on Cashapp, it's $ F as in fire. Well, F as in field, O as in of, D as in dreams, 20211 for Field of Dreams Ministries. Really good guy. Pastor Mike is there literally every single week. Really nice guy. Loves wrestling, loves the Lord.
You mentioned that you can find is there on your social media how to donate, or is there like a link on there?
No, there's no official link. Me and him were just having a conversation. He was telling me some of the financial struggles. So I posted it a few times, and he's actually gotten a fair amount of donations that really helped him get through the month of October. So it's really helpful, and he does a lot for the community. So now and again, I'll just make a post and just say, hey, for those still looking to donate, here's where you do it.
Okay, well, if what you just mentioned, I'll put it in the description of the video below for anybody that wants to donate.
Definitely. Thank you very much. I'll make sure I provide you that. So everything should hopefully be down in the description. Hallelujah.
Yes, everything will be in the description of the video below. Hallelujah. Can you tell us about your rivalry with Mother Endless?
Yeah, we never got to finish that one out. And I'd very much like to. I mean, you see what Mother Endless is about. She's essentially a more sinful version of Anastasia Morningstar. And she has decided to consistently cause problems in my life in Mid-Valley Wrestling. And, as soon as I have the opportunity to get thrown back in their portal, I'd very much like to settle that in the ring. Because she consistently keeps sending me all these giant people and violent people to fight. I had to wrestle Slade there, a Meadowlands Monster, Kris. So it's just a lot of, and of course the Zombie Bones. So a lot of violent matches during the pandemic caused by Mother Endless. And I even though it's been a very long time, I'd still like to revisit that whenever MVW opens up that portal again.
What was it like? When you was working in the pandemic, was it in front of crowds, or was it close set, or what was going on there?
All three. We had the ones that were like a private crowd. We had the ones that were very small crowds. We had full crowds outside, and the straight up camera tapings. I did all of that.
And I'm imagining this is happening, in intervals of months where you're no crowd, some crowd, all crowd, etc., etc.
Yeah.
How do you adjust from going from 0 people to half crowd to then going to the full crowd again?
Well, the thing is, everyone got too freaked out about whether or not the crowd is there or not. I was never too worried about the sounds of the crowd. I know people are listening. I know I'm here ministering, so whether it's in front of a couple people and a camera or just the camera, I know there's still people listening and people trying to gain something from this. So I just focus on the camera and look inward for my own motivation.
All right. Can you tell us about being gored by Rhino?
Yeah, no fun. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. Interesting fellow Rhino. Seems like a nice guy, but he wasn't very nice to me. Would have loved for the match to have lasted longer than one gore. And maybe if I kicked out, that could have happened. But yeah, no fun. I don't recommend it. That's a very large man. He's very wide. He's like 5'10" across.
Wow. I mean, it may have lasted, only a minute, but what was it like being in there with, essentially an ECW legend?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It's someone that you watch on, it's not someone I watched on TV. It's someone I idolized. So being in the ring with somebody like that, come on, he's still doing a great job in the business. So that's the kind of stuff you dream about.
All right. Well, can you tell us about wrestling Rip Byson for Limitless? How did that come about, and about the match as well?
Yeah, I got lucky. I was reached out to by the owner over there at Limitless to come on down for their Let's Wrestle promotion. Yeah, exactly. And I drove down there. Funny enough, with Logan Black, I drove down there. Pardon?
I said, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, it was fun. It was a really interesting trip between the two of us. If you ever speak to him, he'll say not great things about my food choices on the way back up. But yeah, no, got the match with Rip, and honestly, in my opinion, with very rare exception, I think that's one of the best in-ring performances I've ever had. Despite the loss, like it was awesome. Rip is an incredible competitor, and I learned a lot from it. I'm really hoping that you'll see a lot more of me at Limitless in 2023.
You did have 2 more matches for Limitless this year, I believe.
Yeah. I went up there over the summer. Big Fatal 4-Way. Myself, Ichiban. And Ichiban's a way easier person to deal with out in Maine for some reason. But myself, Ichiban, legit Perfect Perkins as well. We're all in a big multi-person match over the summer at Let's Wrestle. That was my other opportunity with them this past year. So it seems like if you want to see Brother Greatness at Limitless, you're going to only see him once a year, and you don't want to miss it because you'll have to wait another year to see me again.
But obviously the one against Rip Byson. Byson is one of maybe the pillars of Limitless Wrestling. I mean, he's one of those guys that's closely associated with the company. So how did it make you feel like that Randy booked you against one of his top stars?
Yeah, it makes you feel trusted. It really validates the hard work that went into the craft and the art prior to acquiring the opportunity. He could have had me wrestle anyone, and having me work against Rip, that showed me how serious he took me as a performer. And I'm really hoping that I can't even say I'm hoping. I'm seeing that consistently work out in my benefit in other promotions where I'm seeing these opportunities where they keep coming, and the old adage of don't get ready, stay ready kind of kicks in, so that when people like Randy or Drew or what have you give you these awesome opportunities, you're ready to make the most of it. And I think against Rip I really did.
All right. Well, we already know that you're pro pineapple on pizza. So can you tell us what your spirit Pokemon is?
What my what?
What's your spirit Pokemon?
Oh, my spirit Pokemon. All right, it's a split between Raichu and Quilava.
Ooh.
Yeah, right between Raichu and Quilava. I think Raichu is one of the coolest Pokemon ever crafted. No one appreciates how fuzzy Raichu is. He can be cute. He can be deadly. It works. Raichu just works for me, and Quilava just looks cool.
No, I definitely dig it.
No, if I had a choice, man, you give me a Pikachu and a Thunderstone, I'm ready to go.
Weirdest question you'll ever be asked on a wrestling interview: would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual Rock.
This sounds like an easy win. You said a rock, not a boulder. All I gotta do is pin the rock. I just pin the rock. It's fine. Sounds like an easy day. I hope they pay me. We could donate it to the church.
Well, just for context, there's this wrestler named Psycho Mike that wrestled an actual Rock for over.
Probably an amazing match.
Huh?
It was probably an amazing match.
Well, it went over 15 minutes, and it was dubbed a Tungsten Man match, an Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks. And yes, it was a fantastic match.
Did The Rock win?
They tied.
Wonderful. And I'm not fighting that Rock. I want a non-sentient Rock. All right, sentient rocks are a breeding ground of sin. That is witchcraft. That is the devil. I'm not wrestling a sentient Rock. I already had to fight a hot dog. I'm not wrestling a Rock.
Okay, when did you wrestle a hot dog?
Hot Dog Starks in 2018.
Okay. Well, at least you didn't wrestle pancakes.
No, I wrestle pancakes too. It depends. Are you talking about pancakes from Long Island or pancakes from Dropkick Depression? There's too many wrestlers. But I wrestled pancakes before.
We need less food-based wrestlers.
Apparently.
We love Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
I do not.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail. 'Cause a Doug can't spell.
Solid. Okay, solid. I gotta put that one on the list.
Just ask Logan about it. He's a big Tracy Smothers guy.
Listen, I feel like Logan knows everything. It's uncanny.
He has
his interests are all over the place.
Oh no.
His interests are really all over the place. His musical everything is all over the place. He's a very interesting cat.
For sure. And could you tell us about people who go out their way to see that shows off what Brother Greatness is all about?
Well, you already named the Rip Byson match. I definitely think that's worth anyone's time. Myself versus CPA, which you can find, well, the first time I wrestled him at Wrestling Open, which also happens to be my debut for Wrestling Open. You can find that on the Wrestling Open YouTube page. I think it's from week 5, if I'm not mistaken. So it should be pretty easy to find. Me versus CPA. And it's an oldie, but myself versus Kris Kage. You can find that on IWTV, Bronx Wrestling Federation. It was a December show, so I believe it was Jingle All the Way. That was one of my favorite matches as well.
I'll put the Rip Byson match and the CPA match in the description of the video below on YouTube and Cashapp for anybody that wants to see it, hasn't seen it in a while, or wants to see it for the first time.
Great. I'll say the Kris Kage match too. I'm sure it's floating around on YouTube.
I'll look for it. Alright, and since we're nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. This is our speed round, the bonus round, where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Excluding myself, greatest wrestler of all time. Kurt Angle.
Worst wrestler.
Woo! You try to cause problems in my life. All right. Man, I hate to say it. Jaquise Wolf. Just throwing it out there. He needs to finish training.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Man, give me Deacon Devon at his prime.
Ooh, interesting. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
New Day.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is
on crutches.
You will have also accepted taste great on toast. Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Vegetable.
It's a fruit, but you're now a part of Squash Squad, and that means a lot more. New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Slightly less than what I currently have.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
Yes.
Really?
Yep. Right after the match he did against Jeff Hardy, where homeboy jumped off that ladder.
Yes.
I ran into somebody. I think it was was that a food town, something like that in Long Island, and I guess they recognized me, and we ended up talking. I told them I was at the show. And we ended up talking about the Darby Allin spot. So yes, that has happened.
Wow, awesome! That's the correct answer.
Who said that? You're a funny guy.
So we'll conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This was a great time, and yeah, really good questions.
Thank you. We like to keep it interesting. Once again, where can we find you on social media?
Yep, you're gonna find me Be Greatness 2012 on Twitter, Brother Greatness 2012 on Instagram. You can find me Brother Greatness on YouTube, and of course Brother Greatness again on Facebook.
And Pro Wrestling Tees.
Oh yes, and the Pro Wrestling Tees. If you want some shirts, Pro Wrestling Tees / Brother Greatness. You can also reach out to me directly for that. Totally acceptable. I even technically have a Teespring store, but it doesn't have as much as the other options do.
And what was Pastor Mike's information again?
Yeah, definitely. So if you want to donate to Pastor Mike, you're going to do so via Cashapp, $F as in field, O as in of, D as in dreams, 20211. He represents Field of Dreams Ministry on 38 Benefit Street in Worcester, Massachusetts, 01610.
All right. And if you like, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment on YouTube and Castbox. Join us tomorrow for an interview with Charlie Cruel. Next Wednesday, Sam Beal. The week after that, Jocelyn Navarre. If you like, you can follow the show at Wrestling with Eve or on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me personally at JamesJ993. And you can follow Scooter Dust at Scooter Dust and on the Remix, the only live alternative commentary for WWE PLEs. Okay, when I say wrestling with, you say entertainment.
All right.
For our very special guest, Brother Greatness, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.